for a healthy snack subscription box. Aims at foods that boost brain function and physical activity. Features modifiable subscription, different types of boxes that focus on specific things, no saturated fats, etc., etc. The ideal sort of client in terms of research is going to be Jessica, the avatar, is getting into a bad habit of unhealthy snacking and is worried about nutrition, doesn't like her health food taste, so tends to be very wary of products that label, also doesn't like cooking big meals. With Nutrio, they put taste first, nutrition second, so you can eat healthier and enjoy it as well. The offering is an easier way for junk food eaters to eat healthier foods. All links arrive at the landing page where they can claim a free subscription box.
Could we rewind just a little bit? Because if I don't know what RIOA means, then maybe a lot of the viewers wouldn't either.
This is like one of the systems that we sort of favor for people, like, just put this up at the top so that you have clarity of like what you're actually writing about. So this is all context for this, an email.
The first thing I do before you even read it, would you highlight it all and just see how many words the body copy is from if to the end?
So it is 153.
So a lot of times there's things that you can do without reading any words. You can sort of see the chunks of words. I'll say there's obvious structural flaws here. It doesn't matter how long I dilly-dally with the words, but the 150 words to me is like, okay, box checked. It means you've got a pretty succinct, brief, like you're not rambling kind of email that sort of gets to the point. That's just why I asked Sean to do that, and that's something I often check for right out of the gate. If it says 300 words, I'm like, oh boy.
Subject.
Is there a snack in your hand? Hey there. If unhealthy snacks have a grip on you, we've got something that'll make your life a hell of a lot easier. All you have to do is follow this link to claim a free subscription box of your choice. Postage is on us. If you didn't know, 1 in 8 people in the UK don't eat junk food. That means 7 out of 8 people are at risk of developing cardiovascular problems, kidney problems, and even cancer. We thought of a solution, something easy, delivered to you all in one package that fits straight through your letterbox. The solution being healthy, snackable treats made with 2 goals in mind: taste first and nutrition second. If it ain't the best snacks we can find, what's the point of eating healthy? You should snack like you snack already, just without the guilt. Take a look and let's get our munch on. Nutrio.
I feel like the email's sort of written backwards or upside down a little bit. I also feel like the opening line is what John Benson would call radio jockey copy. There's like, if unhealthy snacks have a grip on you, we've got something that'll make your life a hell of a lot easier. Like it feels very marketing and very like put on. I feel like this interesting fact about the 1 in 8 people is a much stronger start. And I feel like the emotional like element of it that we talked about before, like having an emotional charge, that you're at risk of developing cardiovascular, kidney, and cancer. I think that's a more powerful opener. One thing I will say, the subject line, is there a snack in your hand, I think is great. I do feel like there's a Kyleism that I use about calling it betraying your subject line. I think that this actually goes pretty well. It could flow straight from, is there a snack in your hand? If you didn't know, 1 in 8 people in the UK don't eat junk food. Is that completely congruent? I think it's close enough that it'll like, no one will be like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was, and click away. So I think that's going to work. The other thing I wanted to mention is I want to recircle this cardiovascular problems, kidney problems, and even cancer. Those are called stakes. Not like the steaks you eat, but like poker stakes. I've written emails that go out to like the Copy Squad email list that talk about death-focused words. There's one email I wrote one time that was like, this will kill your copy career. If you don't pay attention, this mistake is absolutely terminal. It could be the absolute end of you getting your next gig or any gig. Please pay attention because blah, 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 blah. What I like about this as the opener is it immediately creates stakes. Like, you should pay attention to this because it's very important. The opener you have right here is quite corny and marketing feeling, and this second thing is not that. It's better.
The biggest problem with this copy is that it sounds like copy. One of the first lessons that I ever got as a copywriter was, your copy sounds like copy. Quit that fucking shit out. If, then. We have 3 logical appeals. Like, 2 of them are using the exact same sentence structure. You can just delete this. 1 in 8 people in the UK don't eat junk food. And I wouldn't even start there. I'd probably just start with, hey there, did you know that 7 out of 8 people in the UK are at risk for developing cardiovascular problems, kidney problems, and even cancer? It's true. And did you also know that it's probably because of the way that they snack every single day? ? And then immediately, like, we are just, boom. We present a credible statistic. We present the stakes. and we immediately attach it to the behavior that we are trying to get people to self-identify with. And then that's going to be also close enough to the top where we're not going to be betraying the subject line. I want to understand what the main emotional appeal of this email is. Is it to make a life easier? Is it to save a person's life and improve their health? Is it to have better tasting stuff? Like, what is the focus here? It feels like we're jumping from like appeal to appeal to appeal. Ultimately, what we're doing is diluting each individual appeal. Like if the focus was on health, I don't think we need to really spend a whole lot of time on making somebody's life easier or on like the great taste without the guilt.
This very unique idea that this company is not actually focusing primarily first on healthy snacks. First, it's snacks that taste good. And then second, it's health, which I think is a really unique thing and something that could be dimensionalized a little bit more. Like if you say, did you know 7 out of 8 people are at risk of developing cardiovascular problems, kidney problems, and even cancer, and it's because of the way they snack. Well, like no wonder when your options are, like raw freaking broccoli or like fast food, like that's a problem. There are no middle ground, good, healthy snacks that actually taste good. Like we came up with a solution. And then you get into a little bit of that like USP of what this company did and is doing. And I think by coming out and saying it, trying to like charge that emotion a little bit, like maybe you're struggling with gaining weight, maybe you're having a hard time because like who wants to eat rabbit food day in and day out for months on end? And like, yeah, you're like, it makes you miserable. And so I think that is an opportunity for this copywriter to maybe like lean into a little bit and really try to draw that out. And I think Sean gave a great kind of beginning structure for that.
I think the idea is strong enough too that you don't have to be like cute about hiding it. You can just sort of say
like lean into it.
Yeah, like, but we know scary statistics like this are not are not like what actually makes a difference when it comes to changing the way you snack. Like be real because it'll feel real to them.
One of the things that you might consider doing in an email like this, especially for products like these, is really just sort of like going out and trying some of the stuff, because the moment you have an experience of these kinds of products, it opens your eyes to a lot of the problems that people aren't really talking about or addressing when they try to sell them.
Sean first pointed out, Lindsey sort of expanded on it, the idea of specific appeals. This almost harks back to the thing I was saying about summarizing the promo in the headline. You see sort of the same thing in emails for greener and just below intermediate copywriters. They summarize their whole offering in an email instead of letting the sales page carry the weight. If one way to fix that is, like Sean said, focus on one appeal, right? Focus on this one thing. And then, so what I want to talk about this is, I like to talk about high level philosophical stuff on copy because it kind of trickles down from there. But I see what a lot of copywriters are when they're writing, especially emails, is insecure. There is a certain just distrust of themselves, a certain insecurity that what they wrote will be good enough to get the click, and they end up piling in a bunch of extraneous bullshit because they feel like, well, this isn't good enough. I better throw in some credibility. Well, that's actually I need to make sure that they know that they can get a 6-pack with this. And then, by the way, I need to let them know that like here's some testimonials. Pick an appeal and stick with it. I call it let it breathe, man. Like pick an appeal. Like, so even when I was doing the terminal thing earlier, I was talking about like, oh, this is the stakes are high. And I was like, just letting this one idea just breathe and just laying into it, re-hitting that button. Like the Hot Wheels cars where you drag the car back. You drag the car back and you let it go and it goes beep. But if I drag it back like 6 times, it'll go flying across the floor. So it's like, that's an emotional trigger. If I hit one appeal or one emotion, it's like, really ripping that Hot Wheels car like as many times. If it's just that one emotion until it'll fly across the floor, it on its own becomes super powerful. However, if I split 6 of those sort of revs across 6 Hot Wheels, they all go just nowhere. So you end up with like a sort of bleh experience.